Okay, in the first video I finished rounds 1 through 5, and if you were watching closely you will notice I made a mistake. And you can see it right here. Do you see where these stitches, these 2 stitches right here, are shorter than they should be? That's because I did 2 double crochets instead of 2 treble crochets there. And I thought about ripping it out and starting over and changing the video, but you know what? I figured I'll show you how I'll fix it. This is how I fix my mistakes. I am not afraid of putting knots in my work. Crochet is different than knitting. You can get away with knots in crochet, whereas in knitting you can't. So what I'm going to do is I think I will, right there on that chain, I'm just going to snip the front loop with my scissors and unravel this back to the first treble crochet in this cluster. Just like that. And when I'm ready, I will work into that loop right there. Okay, now I need to unravel at least these first two double crochets that I messed up. And I need to make sure that I have enough yarn here to add some more. And what I'm going to do is add some more by tying on a fisherman's knot. Fisherman's knot is very sturdy, and fisherman designed it obviously for fishing line, but it works just fine for yarn in my experience. Okay, do you see I have these 2 pieces of yarn crossed over one another? The left one crossed over on top of the right, and then I'm going to wrap this left tail over, bring it around behind, and put it back into that little circle that I just made and pull on it so that I've got an overhand knot, and I can pull it nice and tight. And then over on this side, I put this yarn over and to the back and bring it around here, and then push it down into that loop I just made with this tail. Pull on it, tighten it nice and tight. Then I pull the 2 working yarns together so that the 2 knots meet in the center, and then I snip the yarn very close to the knot. I've only wasted a little bit of yarn, and I now have a knot that is quite sturdy. Now if I were to pull really, really, really hard on this, it might come loose, but nobody's going to be doing that. Now I also can trim these ends up just a little bit so that the knot will slip through any loops that I make. Okay, so now we will continue on with the 2 treble crochets I was supposed to make. And interestingly, the knot is sitting right on the front of the work. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes it hides itself nicely. But you know what? I'm just going to leave it the way it is, and might be able to kind of work it back in later. Okay, so this corner normally had 3 chains, but I'm only going to do 2, and then I'm going to do a needle join here. So I pull the yarn out. The needle join actually creates the 3rd chain. You see the 3 chains there? Okay, flip it over on the back, tie my knot, gentle knot, and then sturdy knot, and weave in the ends. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this accomplished with such a short tail, but I showed you before how one can overcome that. And we will be working over these stitches in a moment, so, well, actually we're going to be working back loop slip stitch with our black yarn. I always do my crochet work at a table or a desk. I don't put it in my lap. I usually am writing a pattern while I'm crocheting and I need my laptop in front of me. Therefore, it's easier for me to keep everything on a desk in front of me. And I have found that that also makes it easier to grab my yarn needle, scissors, stitch markers, etc. And so that's why I don't mind doing needle joins, because everything I need is very handy in front of me. Okay, now round 5 is finished, and you know what, I already forgot where I did the repair. See if you can help me find it. There it is right there. I can feel that little knot on the front, and it is just so tiny. I think I'll just trim a little bit of those fibers, but I pretty much dare anybody to find that knot. Once you get the entire square out in front of you, you won't even see it. Now I have started on round 6, which is slip stitch in the back loop of every stitch around, except there's one difference. On this round, we are not slip stitching into the back loop of these slip stitches that form the first part and the last part of this chain 4 anchor. So therefore, let me get close and see if I can show you. Right there is the slip stitch. We are not going to stitch into that. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, but we are going to stitch into the back loop of these 4 chains. And there, right there, is the slip stitch. We're not going to stitch into that. So we go over here and continue slip stitching in the back loop of every stitch around. All right, now I have completed the first 6 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.